Welcome I had no sound. Okay, there we go. Hello, hello, and welcome everybody to Women Unleashed. This is season 4 of Women Unleashed here on Dreamaniac TV.
And episode number?
No idea.
No,
I don't even, yeah. I am Alicia Couri. Our producer just told me episode number 7. There you go. I am your host.
Hey, that's cheating.
Alicia Couri, the Red Carpet CEO, and with me is my co-host.
I'm Szebastian Onne, the Almost Naked CEO, and yes, it is episode number 7. I'm a little bit confused and lost and everything else because, oh my God, yeah. But I'm excited about tonight's interview because this is our first guest from African region. So our guest tonight actually represents the entire Africa.
Entire Africa. Sorry, I'm sending a message out to people to come join us and watch us here live.
Well, this adds another feather because now we are Africa and Middle East. Last 2 places were left, so we are now covering Africa. Now we just need to conquer Middle East, and we will be truly international and global and everything beyond.
Yeah, because we've had guests from Asia, Australia, Europe, Canada, the United States, Argentina, so South America, and now Africa. So woohoo! Yeah, and maybe Mother Russia. Well, I mean, Eastern European we've had as well. So so we'll see if we can get someone from the Middle East. Anyway.
Exactly. And by the way, wherever you're watching from right now, if you are not on any social media for any freaking reason, you can
if they're watching, they have to be on something. So if you have a friend that's not watching,
who's not watching
and should be watching,
I told you, brain's not working.
Yeah, they don't have social media, or they're not on a platform that we're broadcasting off of, because we broadcast on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Periscope and Twitter. So if you're not on any of those platforms, guess what? Go to Dreamaniac.com. Tell them go to Dreamaniac.com. so that they can watch us live.
And while you're there, make sure go to YouTube, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because next time you won't miss a show. We have wonderful, exciting shows like tonight. All right. So
tonight, let's get ready for the most amazing woman. And like I said, before we went live, and we were all in the green room together, and I was saying she is the epitome of what this show is about. She is really the poster child for Women Unleashed. And
she really is. Yeah.
We're gonna introduce her through this short video, and then bring her on, and let's have a conversation whenever you're ready.
All right. So this is Yolanda Mabuto.
Welcome.
I forgot to take my shirt off. No, I'm kidding.
Welcome, Yolanda. I am so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be part of the show.
You are a superwoman.
Hey, congratulations. And thank you. You're representing entire Africa. So anything you say from here now, Africa has to agree.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh yes. We have the power. So let's just start. I know we've shared a lot in that intro of your accomplishments, but we want to start back in your childhood and tell us what it was like growing up in South Africa for you as a young Black woman.
Oh yeah, yes. I grew up in South Africa, in Cape Town to be specific. Grew up from Guguletu, and it is a very dusty streets where most of us don't make it to platforms like BRICS and international platforms. It takes really a resilient person to be able to come out of the situations that they find themselves in. I grew up with a big family, my aunts and my uncle and my mom. My mom had me when she was young. And I also had my firstborn when I was very young. I was 16 when I had my daughter, and I was still in high school. And I remember during that time, it was still a taboo thing. It still is, but it was even worse that time because you were stigmatized. You know, the mothers of your friends would no longer to play with their daughters because you are this child who has a, you know, you are a bit bad influence. So I grew up, you know, having that stigma, but I looked at my situation. And I remember I used to tell my daughter, I still tell her this every day. You know, when I came back from the hospital, I held her in my arms, and I needed to go to the restrooms. And in most of houses in Guguletu, the toilets are outside. So you really have to walk out of the house to go to the restrooms. So there wasn't anyone because people were at work, and my aunts were just out there doing their own things. And I thought, I was like, okay, who am I going to leave this child with? Because I need to go to the restrooms and relieve myself. And I went outside with her. I saw a friend, and then I asked her to come and look after her as I went to the toilet. And that dawned on me because at that moment I knew that I can never ever take any step without considering her, without understanding what my implications will do to her. So that was the life-changing moment in my life where I realized that if I was playing at school, that was the time where I needed to be very serious. But luckily for me, I wouldn't say I was a bright student, but I was a hardworking student. Even my class teacher couldn't believe I was pregnant. And to fast forward, I did all my grades, passed, went to varsity. It wasn't easy, it was difficult, but I was fortunate enough to have a partner who was also young at the time, because as I was 16, he was almost 17, 18. So he was very supportive, and we were young parents. People pity us. And when we look back and they look at my daughter and they look at me, they wonder how I made it, you know. But for me, the lessons really is all about looking at a situation and telling yourself that no one is going to drop off the ground to help you. You just have to navigate yourself around and look at opportunities, grab each and every opportunity. And if I may mention, I also worked as a domestic worker for a period of time while I was at university, paying for my fees because my mom at the time was not working. She was retrenched at her work. So I had to sort of support, you know, myself in ensuring that I'm able to, because I knew at that time that the only thing that would take me out of that situation was education. I looked at my grandmother. Education, for me, it is the key, you know, to at least take you to the next step. And I know it's different for other people as well. But for me personally, that was the only thing that took me out of those dusty streets, and that showed me that there's life beyond Guguletu. There's life beyond the shack that I grew up, you know, in. And I looked at that, I said, you know what, one day I need to take my mom out of this situation. I need to take my child out of this situation, and my sisters as well, because I could see, you know, the girls that I grew up with, you know, how their life turned. And I was like, this is a behavioral influence, and it depends what you are. Some are on drugs, some are alcoholics, and fortunately or unfortunately for me, I fell pregnant. You know, so for me, I look back and say, I'm thankful for that. Yes, it was hard. I wanted to die, honestly, because I'm like, how on earth am I going to look after this life? You know, but when I look at her, she's beautiful. She's my friend. She's my prayer partner. She's everything, you know. So I'm grateful for that. And not only that, at 23, again, I was a mom when I was graduating. And my mother again. I have 3 kids, a girl, a boy, and a girl. So a young mother is not something I would.
Yeah, I wanted to ask on how challenging was it for you to go to university? Like, was it an easy road to get to school, or was it really a fight for you to go to school?
It was a fight, and it was the fight that started in the mind. because when I was studying, I told my mind that I am going to make it. I am going to go to university and study. And my situation at that time was even worse because my mom was not working. But I told myself, so already I won the fight in my mind.
In your
because
mind,
I saw myself.
You were already
I saw myself. I saw myself at the university interacting with other students, and by that, I already won because God made it possible for me to get at least the registration fee. For me, the rest was history. As long as I was there,
that's
sitting
the power
in the class, having a student card.
And
Yes,
you speak of Davis. Kiki Davis says proud of you. Really, you said something about you were not a bright student, but that's what I kind of highlight to people. It's not the degree or the percentage you get, it's what you do with what you learn. And I think you're again, as Alicia was saying, just not for only for Women Unleashed, you're a poster child of what education really means. So you learn beyond the books and beyond the degrees. And as you said, your mind was already ready. You knew what you wanted to do, you knew what you don't want to happen in your life, and it began. So I have a question for you. Being a mother at such a young age, still thinking what at that time, did you think when you became the mother first time that your career is over, or how did you handle that?
Yes, I did think that this was the end of me, because my mom could have easily said, go to work and go and be a domestic worker and find something that is going to make you earn money and so that you can look after your child. But I'm grateful for my supportive mother because she was there for me, and she really wanted me to further my studies regardless of the situation. She supported me. She walked with me, and she told me that I want you to study. I want you to go to school. I want you to make something better of yourself. So that gave me hope because I could see that the very person I was scared of is actually for me. So she's my biggest fan. And then.
You know what? I think that's probably because she didn't want you to have the life she had, probably, right? She's seen things and she already knew that, okay, I may be a strict mother, but I also need to make sure that my daughter is doing well. So there you go.
And it's the same you saw with your daughter too, because when you had her young, you did not want that same life for her. So you knew that education would get you out of that situation to be able to create a better life for your own daughter, so she doesn't have to be in that situation as well. How did you?
Oh yes, and
I was just going to say, how were you able to break that pattern so that she doesn't become a young mother?
I believe in the power of the words because I spoke into her life. I spoke into the universe. I said, I am the last generation that is having a child out of wedlock in my family. I am the last generation who's a teen mom. I will not have this in any of my generation. I will not have this in my sisters. And that happened too, because none of my sisters have any, kid. My daughter is 21 and she has, never had a boyfriend. So for me, that power of, the words, because we have to prophesy in our own lives. We have to say the things that we want to see. So I made sure that I also tell her about my journey and my history and not hide it, because she needed to learn from me and not make the same mistakes that I made, So for me, communication is key.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Well, we jumped into segment one without even saying what the segment was.
At least it was on the screen.
Yeah. So we're talking to Mabuto about, Yolanda Mabuto about
life of a young mother,
the life of a young mother and how growing up in South Africa was for her. And as we move on to, because she has such a rich story and we want to make sure we can get as much of it in during the time we have together. So I just want to reintroduce again that you are watching, if you're just joining us, you're watching Women Unleashed here on Dreamaniac TV. And with Szebastian Onne and myself, Alicia Couri. And our guest today is Yolanda Mabuto from South Africa. And we're so excited to have her because one of her missions and one of her mandates is not only to raise a beautiful, strong daughter, but also she is passionate about gender equality and raising the standard of all women. And so in this next segment that we're moving on to, we're going to talk about why gender inclusivity became so important to her. So,
the first question I actually have on that is, Yolanda, at what age, because you already were, I think it would be fair to say you were not mature enough to know what's happening with life, what, responsibilities, and then you're a mother next thing. And, again, as you're saying, even the second child. So like at what time or what made you realize that gender equality is something that is close to your heart and that is very important to you? How did you realize that?
Sure. Well, I think I mentioned that I was a domestic worker at some point when I was doing my, university schooling. And that's where I realized the need for gender inclusivity, because my grandmother was a domestic worker. And I used to go and stand in for her during holidays when she's on leave or during weekends. And I would earn some money to pay for my fees. And that's where I saw that, there's so much more that women can do, other than washing dishes, ironing and doing all the house chores. And I know my grandmother is a powerful woman. She's an entrepreneur and she's a dressmaker. She does things for her community when she could still at the time, and because the situation forced her to be a domestic worker. And I look at that, I said, there has to be more to this. There has to be more things that needs to be done, and we cannot wait for men to do those things. We as women, we need to stand up and stand out and create those opportunities for women to flourish and to achieve what they want to achieve, and to listen to their stories and listen to their ambitions and what they want to do. So that for me started when I was at university, and I think I was in my 20s when I realized that, I have to be the change that I want to see, not only in my life, but in the gender agenda as well. So right. I vouched and I made a promise to myself that when I have an organization, it is going to address these challenges that I'm seeing, because I won't wait for anyone to address them. I will address them, but obviously with collaborating with other people with the same agenda, which is exactly what we did.
And it is important, and especially in these times when even today, the COVID is happening, so much is going on. Once again, gender equality becomes an issue because women who suddenly had to be at home, again, it's all on women. All the work that is happening is all on women. So it's just not right. And then even when people are going back to work out of lockdown, what is happening is men are being given an opportunity before women. So what do you feel about that? That gender equality is still such a huge task, right?
Oh yes. We still have a long way as a global community, and I think these are the times where we need to highlight those things. And I know with COVID-19, there are unsaid stories that we have not even heard at the moment that we still need to hear about women that have gone through tremendous things during this time. And it's been unfair for women, because during this time we had a series of women, in engineering, where we wanted to, women in energy rather, where we wanted to hear, how was the lockdown? How has it affected you? And probably what can we learn from you as a mother, as a wife? And we've had so much diverse stories, and women really have felt it, because they had to become mothers, they had to become teachers, they had to become the support, for their spouses and many other things, because we've got extended families, and we've got this thing in South Africa that we call black tax, where you are a young professional or even an adult and working, and your extended family is looking upon you for support, not only financial support, but also emotional support. So we've felt it as women. We've felt it so hard. And I think it's something that we need to write about, so that the next generation understand this is what we went through, And this is how we, as the current generation, will make sure that they won't go through the same journey that we went through, which was not really nice.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so within your mission, what are some of the things that you have created to sort of push this agenda forward?
Yeah, so with Divine Growth Solutions, we've started, because obviously my background is from engineering. I worked for ESCOM, which is a state-owned entity, and it's very much muscular sector. And I worked there, and I was given an opportunity to sort of represent females from ESCOM and also from Western Cape. So this is where I saw the gap, not only to create space for women to play part and to grow and to be developed, but also the space for women to be entrepreneurs. Because for me, again, it's not enough for us to just be employees. There are those who like, I'm a visionary, I've got this gift that I'm given, and I want to execute it. So we create those platforms. So we all launched Divine Growth Solutions, and one of our initiatives is called the Women Power Boss. It's really about women within sector, within the power sector, that
double entendre.
I just love the double meaning. Actually, this actually also brings me to think, in your time and age when you started, how common it was, or was it very, not normal for a woman to actually be studying engineering? What was the life like that, even in education?
Yeah. So I didn't study engineering actually, but I studied cost engineering. And I think this is the notion that we need to also, erase from the minds of other women and young girls. You don't have to study a certain discipline for you to be able to operate in that. All you need to have a wisdom of knowing how to navigate spaces, how to connect with those who know better than you do, so that you are able to execute your vision. Because really, we have presidents that don't really understand certain things, but they've got a team of advisors that are advising them to be able to reach their goals. So yes, when engineering, it was a male-dominant engineering space, but I've managed to work with men, because we have to work with each other, because we are diverse when we've got different unique skills that when we bring them together, we can create powerful, things. So for me, it was not a difficult thing at all, because I'm vocal, and also in a very negative way, in a very positive way.
Very positive,
yeah.
Inspiring way, in an inspiring way. And you have power. You work in the power sector, but you also are a woman of power. And so, we love the name.
I literally love that. I literally love that, because what? You heard that right.
And maybe, yes, we have the women power bosses that are really doing amazing things out there in their own, context. And for us really is to create platforms for them to flourish. We create market access. We create information, access, because sometimes people need the right information to make the right decisions. We also networking platforms, because we believe in networking and mentorship. For me, mentorship is key, because I was mentored. I'm here because I was able to have different mentors in my different, life stages that really groomed me and allowed me to make mistakes and correct me and really allow myself to be humble enough and to be vulnerable enough so that I can be able to learn. Yeah.
That is very important. Mentorship, coaching, very, very important. Can we take some comments? So Jan on Facebook gives a heart. She loves it. And Diswa says on YouTube, says phenomenal lady, very inspiring.
Absolutely.
So and yes, Kiki said proud of you. So on Facebook.
Well, one thing that constantly comes to mind. You not only are working on gender equality, you're actually challenging the status quo overall in Africa. If you look at that, it's not just in the sector of power. You're actually, because we all know power industry is powerful industry, in any country. And then you are part of BRICS as well. So that's again a much bigger aspect, much global. And then how did you ended up with BRICS? How did you, what really happened there?
Again, I think it goes to the power of words. I remember when I used to work for ESCOM, I kept on saying, I'm a global being, I'm a global brand. At that time, I didn't know, how that will translate into an experience in my life, So when we launched the organization, we obviously have to go and find out within the sector, who are the role players, who can we learn from? And there's a platform for BRICS, and they've got different sectors that they sort of collaborate with to make sure that they're able to discuss challenges that are facing sectors. And as a female-owned organization within the sector, we were able to be welcomed into that table to sit and discuss challenges and come up with solutions that can really work for the sector. And that was due to the fact that, like I said before, when you see a challenge and you know that you can't really execute on your own, you need to go to those that can, work with you. And we went to the Department of Energy and we said, this is our vision and this is the strategy we want to execute. How can you support us? They said, actually, we'll do better. We'll partner with you. We will work with you. Wow. We will put our wing, and we want to see more projects that are coming from your initiatives that are run by women, because our agenda was like, let's use the gender agenda, because it's key, especially in the energy sector, because it's still masculine. Yes, we are making strides, but you can do better. And the more companies like Divine Growth Solutions, the better for the sector to be able to be transformed, and allow inclusivity around gender and other things. So we really open up, the space and say, we're here to serve. And I think for me, my growth really came from serving. I've always served, even in committees, without actually wanting to be paid at some point, because for me, I knew it's a learning, because one day I'll be able to do this at a bigger platform, which is happening right now. So I always tell young people, grab every opportunity. If it's a small committee, be there, be the secretary, write those minutes, because you're learning, So for me, it's the heart that will get you into greater platforms that even you yourself can't even fathom.
I love that you asked, that you made the ask, because there's so many women that will not even make the ask. So I love that.
Right. And, let's see, we'll have some comments. Let me just quickly take that. So Silay, I hope I'm saying your name right. If I don't, please tell me. Taking up space, look at God. I'm so proud of you, big sis. There you go. And, speaking of which, we'll talk about, from being a mom to the BRICS and World Forum lady right after this break. So we'll be right back. And we're back.
Yay! So we are back on Women Unleashed here on Dreamaniac TV. And I am Alicia Couri, your host. And with me is my co-host,
Szebastian Onne, a little bit cuckoo today, so like always.
And our wonderful guest is Yolanda Mabuto, all the way from South Africa here on Dreamaniac TV. This is, like I said, Women Unleashed. This is season 4, episode 3, and we
episode 7.
Episode 7, and it's going right on the crawler. Because you know what I was thinking? I was going to say this is our 3rd segment, and 3 popped into my head.
You know what? you and I know that we should just never go into the numbers. We should
I
just keep
know.
talking.
I should just leave numbers alone. So I was going to say in this third segment, that's where 3 came
Yes,
from.
I know.
We're talking to Yolanda about from transitioning from being a mother, a young teen mother, all the way to world forums, to brand ownership, dominating global domination, really spreading the message of gender equality for women, and also being a member of BRICS.
Well, I want to actually start off with a question. So, it is, of course, a big achievement from being a teenager who's dealing with everything, and now you're a council member of BRICS. But first of all, tell us a little bit more about, because I know you spell divine in a very different way. So tell us the story behind that different spelling of divine and everything that divine is about.
And we've been talking, one second, because we've been talking about BRICS, but we really didn't say what BRICS was completely. So while you're explaining what divine is, can you also explain to the audience what BRICS is?
Sure, absolutely. So divine is anything that is out of this world is divine. So we are on about divine growth. We want people to grow, be it self-development, be it's your business. We want the growth. We have the growth that does not come from this world. And also there's a part, on divine as well, because it's not spelled as your normal divine. It's diva, INE, meaning we somehow we can be divas when we want to be divas. So that's why it's divine and spelled that way. And really what we aim to do is to address the sustainable development goals, looking at the renewable energies, looking at the green economy, and looking at the gender equality and education. But we focus on education under a certain foundation that we also have, because I think with the rich history and the rich experience that we have, it's best for us to teach the young ones, the ones that comes after us, so that they don't make the same mistakes that we've made. And we do that on the foundation side, which is an NGO organization. And, BRICS is basically a platform for countries like Brazil, it's Russia, it's India, China, and South Africa. It's basically an alignment between these countries discussing, the different sectors that they have. They've got different working groups that they're focusing, like the energy and green economy, where we are a member as Divine Growth Solutions. They've got finance and digital economy. They've got agriculture and skills development and other, working groups, where really these are where we sit and discuss what are the opportunities out there. How can we trade with the world? Because as a country, you cannot be, a silo country and working alone. You've got to collaborate, because there are things that you don't have, and there are things that you have that other countries want. So we're all big about collaboration, and I'm so proud of my country, South Africa, to be part of such a platform, and also allowing us as women, to be part of those discussions. It's something that is rare, and it's something that is growing, and we'll make sure that it's even further to be able to open the spaces wider for others that are coming after us.
Right. And, just to clarify as well, for people who don't understand, would you say BRICS is kind of a Asian African sort of collaboration, just like G20, which is all global? Is that the kind of path
something similar, something similar, but for emerging countries? South Africa is a country that came from the post-apartheid time. So now we are growing our economy. And in order for us to grow, we need to collaborate with countries that are doing great, with countries that we can learn from, and with countries that really understand our rich history and how they can sort of, collaborate with us and grow our economy as well as growing the global economy, because the agenda is the global economy, So that's basically what BRICS is about.
I want to just take a couple of comments because clearly people love you. So let me just put some comments. Aluluto, I believe I'm saying that correctly. Congratulations, Sissy Souls, super proud. And then they say, you look amazing, as well as Mayoli. And Nakutula says, great work representing us SA Black women in business. And I'm sorry, guys, if I say any name wrong, you can kill me later, okay? I'm trying my best. So
Better you than me. Better you than me.
hey, I'll take the
I-
fault this time. I know it's difficult, but that's what comes with running a global platform, and we learn so much. So also tell me, Yolanda, I know from personally, I originally am from India, so I have not for a long time until recently seen women in BRICS meetings. It's all men, 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 and everything. So, how difficult was it to kind of break into that, as you said, muscular sector and actually have your representation? And how difficult is it now?
It wasn't really difficult because, again, I think it's because of how welcoming, our country is, for us at least, for the green economy. Because when we, approached, the chairperson of the BRICS, he was very open. He was he's even saying, we'll mentor you. Tell us what you need, what kind of support you need from us, because we are here for organizations like yours, because you're not only driving your own agenda, you are driving the agenda for other women as well. Because as we go to this platform, we advocate for SMEs, especially female-owned SMEs, because we don't really get, the chance to sit in these platforms. So those of us who are able to get those opportunities, we've got to be a vessel for those that are sitting at home, that are sitting in their offices and don't have this opportunity. So I must really say thank you to our country for still having this open-minded of allowing women, to be part of these discussions, to open up the spaces for them to occupy and make change, because we are a diverse country, and diversity does not only relate to color, it relates into gender as well. So for them to come, because we come with unique ideas, we come with unique discussions, and it takes a short sector to allow that.
Speaking of unique ideas, we actually have some interesting comments. I'm just going to put that up really quickly. Bev obviously says, hey, Yolanda, you go, girl. Awesome. And Maury says, this is so inspiring. Well done, mommy. Oh, is that your daughter?
Yes, it's my friend.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. And Chris actually is asking, please share some milestones achieved by your organization. So if you can please, share something.
Sure. Last year we won an award for best supporter in the STEM. STEM being like science, technology, and maths, because we support. Yes, so we're supporting young girls, we're supporting women again, and also we've also won some awards for. I think we've done so well in the gender space, where we open spaces for women to get information, to sit in certain platforms that they would not necessarily sit if we were not connecting them. So we've got about 3 accolades that we have. We've got about 3 awards that we've won, and we've done amazing things, and we've been nominated in certain platforms, global platforms, to host conversations. So early this year, just before COVID-19, we hosted a global conversation with a UK own organization, where they came to want to have this and it was an organization that had about 8 other countries. It was live streamed, and in Johannesburg, people their hearts out. That's very rare in certain relations, where people just can really speak about what challenges are facing and what solutions could be in place to ensure that those challenges are addressed. So that was a big thing to be put in that global platform.
Sorry, Yolanda.
But we appreciate that, and we're still growing, and we're still opening up more spaces so that you are able to make more moves and make more changes in the space.
Right. I think, Yolanda, there's a little technical trouble happening. Do you mind refreshing and coming back, and we'll just continue the conversation? Is that okay?
Yes. So I want to find out when Yolanda comes back, since she did mention young girls, that she does a lot of work with. She has a group called Omni Growth. So I want to really talk about that. When I saw her daughter's friend say hi, what are the messages that she has with young women? Because I know she does as much as she does for businesses and women in business and all of that. She also takes time to mentor and has an organization that focuses on young girls and young women so that they can.
Which is where really the gender equality begins.
Yes,
if you can empower them from early on.
Right, because of her situation from childhood, how she's able. So Yolanda, as you were refreshing, Szebastian and I were talking about your Omni Growth platform for young girls and young women. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Omni Growth, like I said before, there are passion, jobs that you do, and then there are jobs that you do because you want to earn money. But for Omni Growth, it's more about giving back to the communities, giving back to my country. And I'm very passionate about education because I know most of girls, like me, the only thing that will take them out of their current situation is education. And then they can take the second step after they've obtained a certain level of qualifications. So what we do as Omni Growth, we speak to young girls at schools, young girls and boys for that matter, because I also have a boy. So I believe in a boy child as well. They need to be nurtured. They need to be educated on how to live in the world that is full of strong, powerful women and young girls.
Exactly.
So that they're able to collaborate. Yeah, they're able to collaborate and co-live with each other and produce beautiful things.
It's so important to educate the girls and the boys.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So we connect with schools.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, so I was saying we work with organizations like ESCOM in their Science and Expo Week, where we speak with young girls and just to empower them on what subjects they need to take and what they need to do for their lives, and just being open for them to have mentors, because we found it's very key for anyone to have a mentor so that you are able to get information that you would not necessarily have and get advice from someone who's really walked the journey. So we work with schools, and we also work with organizations that are having the similar and the same agenda. We try not to reinvent the wheel. We sort of plug in where there's a need for support. So there's an organization again for young girls, it's called Ikozi. We work with them a lot because they're already doing what we want to do. All we do is plug in and give them support as and when they need. It's also about economy, township development, because I come from the townships. So our townships are not developed. So we need to ensure that those of us who have gone, out of the township, how do we go back and develop our townships and make sure that we plant the entrepreneurial spirit in our people? Because, we need entrepreneurs, those who have passion to be, but we need to be able to support them and show them where to go and how to go and give them information and opportunities. Because I've seen in the industry and in the sector is that there are people that are willing to give. They don't know who to give to. So we come as that bridge in between to say, here are the haves and here are the have-nots. So let's match together and create something beautiful so that it's impactful, not only for one part, but it's beneficial and mutual.
You're right. And another question that comes to my mind, Yolanda, is, we talk about gender equality, we talk about women in business, but there's also a group of people who say, oh, feminism, it's feminazi and this and that, But the fact is, a lot of these people don't realize gender equality in Western countries and gender equality everywhere else is a totally different dimension to live in. So what's your view on, how people see gender equality, and some people react against feminism, and why do you think it's, still very important in countries like your and mine we come from?
Well, I like to make sure that, I allow people to have their own opinions, right? But also, I also like to advise people to research certain things before they can have, so much to say about, because for countries like our country in Africa, it's very key to make sure that we include women. Gender equality is still a greatest agenda, a priority for us to make sure that we include women, because we understand the power of transformation that women have. I mean, they say you give a woman a house and she gives you a home, you give a woman a baby and they give you a toddler, because they grow that child very quickly, and so on and so forth. So for us, we understand that there's a big need, there's still a big need for gender equality, for including women in spaces. There's more that women can do with men, not without men, with men as well, collaboratively and discussing, coming up with ideas and opportunities that will be beneficial for not only women, but for men as well. And women are the natures of boys who become men when they're older. So for me, like I said, I like people to be, respected for their own opinions, but also they must understand the point and the context, because context differs in each country and in each province. Even though we are in South Africa, we've got different provinces, they see things differently than we do, but we've got to educate them on our own context so that they understand how we see things in our own lenses, and we can also understand their lenses on how they see things. That's why these discussions for me are very key, because you are able to understand each other and empathize with each other and understand, okay, you are saying this because of this context. Now I understand where you're coming from. So I'm very big on communication and networks and dialogues to try and eradicate these notions of people not understanding things and just saying things.
Right. I love that you're constantly saying each other. And, I want to quote one of our friends, Cindy Constable, because she says for gender equality, you don't need to remove one gender from the table and replace it with another. You need to bring them both to the table. And, gender equality and feminism is not about replacing the power center. It's about bringing everybody equally to the table, to the power, and, empowering everybody. So, I think
absolutely, absolutely.
To empower a woman is not to disempower a man. It's not about disempowering men, just to empower women. So all of us are important.
So many gender spectrums now as well. There was a time it was man and women. Now there's so much more. There's man, women, non-binary, fluid, LGBT and all that. So we need to really look at gender from a totally different perspective. And I think probably as human, even before gender, to make it equal, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Human rights.
Absolutely.
All human rights.
Yeah.
Race.
And we work very well with men.
Well, this has been a very enlightening discussion, and I know we could go on and on and on.
I know.
We really need to put a cap on it.
We need to wrap up. The producer's telling us, okay, wrap. It's time. So thank you so much, Yolanda. This has been great. And again, we haven't even scratched the surface. So of course, we're going to bring you back on other shows. And now, before you go, I just want to ask you one final question. What message you have for girls out there, young girls out there in different countries, especially BRICS countries and places like that, and Middle East and all that, who believe or who doubt that they can actually fulfill their dreams and they can become something?
My advice for young women around the world is that believe in your dreams, believe in what is in your heart and what is in your mind, and first win it in your mind, because there's power in the mind. Speak life into your life and ask. What I've done is to ask. I asked my mother's employer to lend me, funds to pay for my fees. She was shocked because my grandmother is so fearful of her, and having me asking her to loan me some money and I will pay back by working, at her house, and then she will just deduct the money from my pay. She was so shocked. So for me, the power of asking started there. And then I'm still asking even now, I'm not saying be a beggar. When you ask, you are proposing, this is what I can do, and this is what I need. So speak up and occupy spaces, go out there, serve. There's power in serving, because with serving, you get experience and you network with people that will probably open other doors for you. and open up doors for other people as you have made it. Create the table for more people to be able to come and sit with you and learn from you and grow, their careers or their businesses.
Excellent.
Right.
Excellent
Absolutely.
advice.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I see there's a comment coming up. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'll put it up.
Sandra said, wow.
Sandra joined in and she's like, wow, she's clearly wowed with everything and doesn't have more to say.
She doesn't have any other words, but wow. We are wowed.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And please don't go anywhere. Stay in the green room. We'll catch up with you in a second.
Thank you so much.
All right. Sorry, I know I kind of cut Yolanda off. I'm being told constantly, like, okay, we need to wrap. We need to wrap. Okay. This was really, and we haven't even touched this, you scratched the surface, you know.
We have guests that have rich stories and very deep and vibrant experiences that we just can't do it in just one show.
Absolutely. So thank you guys so much for watching. You have been watching Women Unleashed on Dreamaniac TV. We will see you next time. And as we say on Dreamaniac TV, you dream big.
You dream big and we'll make it happen. All right. Good night, everyone.